Ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Batman, and this is my review of The Flash Season 7, Episode 1, All's Wells That Ends Well. I'm going to have a non-spoiler part of this episode, and I'm going to have a spoiler part. I'm going to warn you guys when we get to the spoiler part, so you can click away here. But do click away if you haven't seen the episode. Non-spoiler time. So we start off the episode with Chester P. Ronk at Star Labs. He's talking to himself, and he gets an alarm about where Eva is, and he awakes Barry from that whole cryo chamber that we saw in the trailer. And I know what you guys are saying. Why are you doing a Flash review? I love The Flash. It's a great show. So, he's saying that Barry shouldn't go face Eva because he only has 1% left of his speed, which Barry insists that he has to. So he does. But yeah, he's not able to catch her. Well, some people end up dying. I'm not going to name who. I'll name that in my spoiler territory. Barry goes to the CCPD to meet with Joe and Cecile. And they talk about questioning Rosa Dillon, a.k.a. Top. A metahuman who can induce vertigo. That's for the people who don't know who Top is, by the way. So yeah, they do that. Cecile talks about going to talk to her because not only is she an empath, which we learned back in Season 4, but when she was a DA, she put Dylan away in Iron Heights, and now that she's a metahuman defense attorney, she's going to be her defense attorney to try and get her to stay out of prison. So they end up talking, and, well, Dylan does something to Cecile's powers, making her feel fear and doubt, telling her basically that she does not know how to use her powers whatsoever, and she's weak. So he's back at Star Labs, and he's talking to Nash Wells about getting his speed back and how Nash just wants to help him. And they finally complete the artificial Speed Force machine, but they need an organic receptor. But anyone who touches it, automatically, they become the organic receptor if they hold on to it too long. We're going to get into that later in my spoiler territory. But yeah, Barry's struggling with his speed. A bunch of stuff happens there. He does get his speed back. And then we see some stuff with Iris in the Mirrorverse, with her going insane and her dinner date with Barry. She still hasn't found Camilla or Singh at that time. And Barry does get his speed back, like I said, and he does save the day. Now, okay, time for me to get into my spoilers. This is what we know. Ralph and Sue Dearborn are off the grid because Eva McCulloch framed Sue Dearborn for the murder of Joseph Carver. And Eva is going around cleaning up Black Hole. And her next stop at the beginning of the episode is a warehouse that is a suspected hideout of Mirror Master, aka Samuel Scudder, and Top, aka Rosa Dillon. She kills Sam Scudder, and she reveals this. I'm gonna tell you what she says. He never told you. Sorry, I messed up. He never told you what he was. My first creation, which made my jaw drop. He was the first. Now, yes. The people who are gone as well, getting back to that. Ralph and Sue Dearborn are off the grid because of the whole thing that happened with the elongated man back at CW and WB. They had to fire him, so they just wrote him off. Cisco's in Atlantis trying to find something. Caitlin is with her mom trying to fix her Killer Frost problem from the last season. Iris is still stuck in the Mirrorverse. So in this episode, the only members of Team Flash we have are Allegra, Nash, and Chester. And they're trying to figure a way to get Barry's speed back. Now, remember the thing I was talking about where they were talking about the organic receptor? Well, Nash has this thing going on inside of his head, as we learned from the episode titled Exorcism of Nash Wells from the last season, where all of the wells are inside of him. And Harry and the rest of them are basically saying he needs to inject their particles into the chamber where the particles join, and in doing that, that'll allow Barry to run forever, because those are particles that can nor be created nor destroyed. But there's a catch. If Nash does this, he'll die. So he says, No, I'm afraid of dying. I'm sure there's another way. He starts yelling at Harry. Harry's like, Nash, there is no other way. He yells at them and says, I'm sure there's another way than me committing S. I'm not going to say that word because YouTube and everything. So yeah. Nash gets Allegra to try and use her ultraviolet powers to split the particles, but it fails and gets all wonky and the particles go all over the place. Granted, we also see some that are dead. Okay, these are the ones we see on screen. Harry Wells, H.R. Wells, Sherlock Wells, Wells the Grey, and Movie Wells, the guy who makes movies. And they all, except for Movie Wells, get stuck in Barry's head. But if they don't get the particles out for Barry's speed healing, because he passes out, and Chester puts him on a, life support. And they have a mobile Gideon, and Gideon basically says, if they don't get the particles out before Barry's speed healing runs out, he'll die. So we're faced with that dilemma. And he sits there and says to Allegra, Nash says this because Allegra thinks it's her fault because of her powers. Nash says, no, it's not your fault. When Chester starts reading about the organic receptors, she's like, that's what you were reading about in your lab. You lied. Yes, I lied. Because I'm the organic receptor, and I'm afraid of dying. And honestly, that's him. And, that's all that. And I'm going to say this. We all have our fears. But, eventually he does end up sacrificing himself, and Barry gets his speed back. But before that, Joe gets an alert at CCPD saying there's a plane loaded with Carver's old tech with a bomb strapped to it from Cecile, because she took all that fear that was in her and put it in Rosa Dillon to make her talk. Since she's an empath, she can do that, and it made Dillon talk, which honestly was the best thing I've seen in a while from this show. I mean, last season was great, but But yeah, Barry gets his speed back, and all of the Wells, they say that they're proud, essentially, they don't want it to be a whole thing. Barry's all sad about it, but we'll get into that one later. And yeah, Barry stops the bomb, and Eva finds out something. She's a mirror duplicate. The original Eva McCulloch is dead. She died during the particle accelerator explosion 7 years ago. Now, this episode was supposed to be part of season 6, but because of the pandemic, But yeah, after they stopped the bomb and all that, Barry, Allegra, and Chester are sitting around talking about Nash and stuff, and the different Welleses. Allegra says that, she didn't really know Nash, but she was getting to know him, and he seemed like a good person. And then Chester says, there's no way we're really going to be able to come back from this. Barry says, basically says that he should alert the team because Harry was like a father to Cisco, and they were all friends to Team Flash. Ignore the dude yawning in the back. I can't help that. But yeah, basically that happens. But Chester and Allegra made a very good point. Maybe the reason they did it is because they all looked on Barry with pride, and they wanted that, and essentially they would be there with him whenever he was running. Well, now time to get into some theories, guys. Didn't really say, and I should have warned y'all to walk away when the spoilers hit. Sorry. But yeah, if that's all of the Wells, because we saw in season 6, that includes Eobard Thawne. Could he be part of the new Speed Force and find a way out? Tell me what you guys think. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this video. I enjoyed making it. And tell me if you want any more Arrowverse reviews. God bless. Happy gaming. Have an awesome day.